Hi, my name's Mark Helm. I'm the author of Creating Wealth Through Self-Storage, and I'm the creator of the Storage World Analyzer, the #1 financial analysis software tool in the self-storage industry. And I help people who are getting in the self-storage business, and I help people who are in the self-storage business strategically purchase self-storage facilities in such a way that it creates true wealth and a fulfilling career. In the last few episodes, we've been talking about equity, but usually equity only accounts for 20 to 35 or 40% of the deal. The balance of the deal, the majority of the money, usually comes from a lender. So let's talk about lenders for a moment. For most of us small investors, local banks are the way we go to get started. As boring as this may sound, an important relationship for you is a relationship with a local banker that you can educate on self-storage and begin to educate on why self-storage is such a good investment. For most of us, that's how we get our first loans and get going in the business. Another really good option, especially if this is your first or second facility, is an SBA loan. SBA loans require less equity in the deal. They usually are a 20 to 25 year self-amortizing loan, which means there's no balloon note like most loans in 5 to 7 years. And you can also finance furniture, fixtures, computers, equipment to operate the self-storage business in the loan. The negative is it usually takes a little longer. You're usually paying about 1% more in interest, and it costs more. There's more closing costs involved with an SBA loan, but it's a real good option. I wish it'd been around when I got started. SBA did not lend on self-storage then, and they do now. So the banking relationship's very important. Begin to establish that relationship. Even if you don't have your first deal yet, begin to establish those relationships so you know who you're going to go present it to. And just like the binder we put together for the investor, I do almost exact same thing for a lender. I put that binder together, I make my presentation, and request them to fund 65 to 70% of our deal. And then once you get going, after you have a number of them, you will begin to explore, out of necessity, the more institutional grade financing, such as life insurance loans, conduit loans, the non-recourse loans, because at some point, the contingent liability on your balance sheet is going to get to the point where it forces you to look at these more big boy, big girl loans with the non-recourse component to it. But to get started, a relationship with a local banker is critical. But here's the meat of this. The important thing to know as you're putting these deals together is what is your total cost of capital to do this deal. In other words, if you're paying the investor 10 to 12% on the equity piece and you're borrowing the loan piece at 4.5%, what's that blended rate? Deal that was chronicled in Creating Wealth Through Self-Storage as we went through the book. I was giving the investors a 12% preferred return on 35% of the deal, and I'm paying the bank 4.5% on 65%. That combined cost of capital is 8%. So why is that important to know? Well, if you're buying a storage facility on a 7 cap and your cost of capital is an 8 cap, it's not going to be very fun. So you need to know your cost of capital. Now, here's the thing. Just because it's a 7 cap on the seller's net operating income doesn't mean it's a 7 cap to me. That's where the analysis becomes critical. You've got to be able, in your analysis, prior to closing on the deal, to know how much additional income you can add. Can you expand it? Can you add truck rental, different income sources? And just because I'm paying the seller a 6 or 7 cap on his net operating income, I can still buy the facility with a cost of capital higher than that because I know I'm able to add the new income streams, or I'm able to reduce their operating expenses. Critical, it all comes back to analysis. I invite you, if you have not watched the free 3 video series on how to buy self-storage facilities in today's competitive market, do so at creatingwealththroughselfstorage.com. I also have other online training in the works now that will go out there and help you support that so that you will be confident in your ability to analyze, because it all comes back to that at the end of the day. Focus on developing those banking relationships now. Always be nurturing one. Always be meeting new bankers. Know what your total cost of capital is on each deal. Next week, we're going to explore what we think are the critical skill sets for each part of operating a self-storage business, and you'll get a little bit of a look inside our storage operation and meet some of our people. My name's Mark Helm. I'm the author of Creating Wealth Through Self-Storage, and I'm the creator of the Storage World Analyzer, the #1 financial analysis software tool in the self-storage industry. Thank you.